vibration. And without those laws, it's obviously that black and white.
What's up, Royals? Back again with another video. Ow. So today, as you can see, I have a friend here, which means we're doing another interview.
Yo.
Yay.
Facts.
So before we dive in, let's go and pray real quick. God, we just thank you for this day, Lord. We thank you for allowing us to come together, to share in our gifts, to share in our visions, to share in our dreams, to share in our purpose, our passions, everything like that. To just be able to commune with each other, but most importantly, God, keep you at the center, regardless of what may be going around, regardless of what may be going on around us. And we just pray for a productive interview, a productive day, and just have your way, God. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Alright, so I'm so excited. Like, I've been saying this like the last 3 videos, but I'm so excited, honestly. This has been my favorite series so far because I really get to dive into people's thought processes, into their hearts, into their minds about why purposeful art matters. So, we have my friend here. Who am I?
What's good, man? First of all, look, who am I? WhoAmi TV.tv, WHOAMI TV.tv. That's Instagram, all of that. Hit me. Slit. Weird.
Alright, so we just want to dive in real quick. It's going to be short, brief, but impactful. So, let's go. So, I mean, you already said who you were, but tell me a little more about you. Like, who are you? I mean, like, that's such a metaphor. What do you do? Why do you do what you do? You know? What's your purpose?
Okay.
Give us that.
So, my purpose is to create a lane for progressive people, and specifically young black men. I'm to be the voice for the voiceless. I always identify with, like, I don't like to say like the nerd or just the person who was isolated or alienated early on in life because I didn't really participate in all of the, like, I don't know, self-destructive activities that I saw going on.
Yep.
So, but God has blessed me with influence. God has blessed me with image and also the ability to speak and people listen. So I'll use that to impact the culture and just make it cool, quote unquote, for another young man who's also in my shoes, who may be a little younger or older, to feel comfortable doing the things that God put on their heart. And I use music to do so. So I make like R&B, hip hop music, and yeah, amazing process.
That's cool. That's one of the reasons why I kind of like drew close to you when I first met you, because you were like me growing up. Like, we both kind of just did our own thing because we were already so like different in a sense. So it was like we never really followed the crowd. We never really, you know, did what everybody else was doing. Like me, I knew God early on, but like I didn't know God. Like, I knew of him, but I was like, I mean, if everybody loves this God, like, what are y'all doing? Like, why don't y'all know him too? It's that kind of thing. So like, I just always been just isolated from everybody else. I talk about that in one of my other videos, but that's real dope. But it's amazing now that we're growing up, now that we're becoming adults, we can take those experiences and translate it with the purpose that God has given us and change lives, impact lives with it, no matter what avenue that may be. Like, yours is through music, mine is through giving people that outlet, because I didn't have that outlet, you know what I mean? I didn't have anywhere to project what was inside of me.
Right.
So that's what I'm giving people, especially through my nonprofit, which is cool. So that's what's up. All right.
Man, they say, just to speak on it, like through what I've studied, alienation is one of the ways that you know that you're called to be a creative, because you see something that other people don't see, and because you see it, God put that on your heart. It's your job to make it happen. And you said something beautiful. You said create a platform. Now you have to create that platform for other people, because there is none. And that's why you feel, I don't know, when I was growing up, I felt really bad. Like, I felt lesser because I knew more. I knew that I knew more, but I knew it wasn't popular. So I'm like, I don't know. It was conflicting.
Exactly.
And what you just said just made so much sense.
Exactly.
To create the platform for people.
Exactly. So you have this outlet, you have this channel that you use, which is your music. Would you say there was like a certain, I don't know, like moment or instance in your life that you were like, nah, this is what I have to do because of X, Y, and Z?
Like, so a moment that I realized that it was more, this is something that was going to impact people or more, okay.
Mm-hmm.
There were so many moments. As an artist, you need so much confirmation.
Right.
Like, confirmation comes and keeps coming. That's the only way you can keep going.
Right.
So I would say one of the moments off the top of my head would be like it's not even my first show. The first show where people repeated and knew my lyrics. That's a moment as an artist where you're like, okay, you start to tap into like what you can do. Because when people say your lyrics, it's a lot deeper than them just knowing your songs. Like, they're resonating, either consciously or subconsciously. They're resonating with whatever your message is in your songs.
Mm-hmm.
So once I saw that power, it was like, okay, I could use this for anything, or I can use this to push people towards something.
Right.
I would say that's definitely one moment of confirmation.
I bet you that's a beautiful feeling.
Right.
I bet you is. And it's funny because the first time I ever saw you perform, that you said that out your mouth too. After your performance, yeah, it was the one BCL fashion show that I walked at Rowan. BCL's Black Cultural League, for those of you who don't know.
Shout out
right, shout out to them. That was the one fashion show that I walked in, and you performed before the show started. And after your performance was over, you were like, man, I'm so blessed. Like, y'all know the words to my songs. And you were just like pouring out how grateful you were. And at that moment, that was the first time I ever saw you too. Didn't even know we were from the same town. Like, didn't know any of that.
Yeah.
That was the first time I ever saw you. And I knew from that moment on, I was like, I gotta connect with him. Like, there's no way. Like, I could just feel the energy. That's what's up. That's what's up. So, I mean, you've been doing this for quite some time. Like, you've really been, you know, in your music game for a few years, right? Was there a moment or a time in your life, a time in your journey where you really felt as though you needed God to push this forward? Like, and I'm just saying, not just, you know, oh God, like, I'm just leaning on you. Like, there, like, you had to have a desire for him to keep going. Because the reason why I'm asking you this is because I really feel as though not just music but art in general, it really has that, it has such a strong power to propel you into any sort of energy that you choose to propel yourself into. You know what I mean? So if you're creating art and you're creating music but you're doing it, you know, not for the right reasons, or you're doing it and it's not purposeful, or whatever the case may be, you could be propelling yourself into energy that is not for you, into negative energy, into energy that is, you know, self-destructing, destructive to other people that may be listening to your music, or whatever the case may be. Was there ever a point in time where you had to, like, kind of step back because you may have felt yourself going that way and you just really needed to God to take over?
All the time. I literally feel like this all the time. Being a musician is one of the hardest jobs, but it's one of the most important. A creative in general. Because creativity, the arts, I feel, to reiterate what you said in a different way, I feel like the arts are an expression of the spirit.
Yeah, like, exactly.
It's hard to speak on the spirit. The Bible does it though, like religious traditions do it, but I feel as though the art gives you a spiritual feeling that you can't, like when you hear a song, you feel it. It's like, wow.
It's in your soul.
So, I would say the first time where I really understood that was my last project, self-titled, it's on everywhere. There was a song called "Die for You" on that, and I had this song for years. Like, I made this song my freshman year, and I knew it had to be on my project, but as it sounded at the time, it couldn't be on there. So I kept re-recording it. I didn't like that. I redid the beat. I didn't like that, and I was just about to give up on it. And I just prayed, like God, this is the one song that's for you. I really want this song to be on there, and it was such a spiritual experience. Me putting that song together, it was like I was actually right here in the studio, and we spoke about this in my men's group. When God is behind you and anointing you, you know it because there's thoughts in your head that you wouldn't think unless it was God inspiring it. Like, I want to go on a fast. Don't nobody want to not eat food, but that's what God is pushing you to do. That's how I felt in the studio. There was decisions that I would make where it's like, I would never think to do that. I would never think to ask this person to help me with this. Then the song came together, and literally, like, I broke down crying. And I cry a lot when I hear that song. And at that point, I knew if I'm not divinely inspired anymore with this music, it's no point.
Exactly.
I'm just doing anything.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. How you gonna give me a chair with no arm on it?
I thought I gave you the good chair because I got the low boy. So I'm like,
he not short, y'all. I'm sitting on the throne over here.
come on, look, I'm 6'1" certified. I made sure my doctor wrote it down on a piece of paper.
I'm weak.
I asked her for a copy just in case somebody tried me.
Yo.
Yes.
So, you said that song really means a lot to you, right?
Yeah.
You put your soul into that song, and you can feel it when you listen to that song. Like, that's how you know God is in it. You can feel it. But along with that song, is there something that you would call like your dream project in your spirit that you just really have to get out? Like, is there something that you're working on now or that you want to work on in the future?
Yeah. So every I don't mean to even sound crazy. Every project is my dream project.
That's
because what God put on my heart before even the music was that my job is to tell my testimony. And like I said, become the voice for the voiceless. The things I go through, everybody goes through it, but nobody's talking about it.
Right.
Especially not in the church. And especially in 2019, not out of the church, because nobody talks, period, outside of anything in society. So, like, I start to see the things that I go through, and I realize, like, okay, this is my season for a reason. I rhyme when I don't even mean to, by the way. I have to notice what season I'm in, and I have to paint that picture for people. So that's why I say every project is my dream project.
That's what's up.
Right now, I'm working on something called Voids, and the concept
Ooh.
is that we the sneak peek too. The concept is that we search for outside validations for things that we should seek within ourselves. And when we do that, it makes us grow depressed because people are shaky. Material things are shaky. Like, they go out of style next season, and then what? The thing that validated you last week is not even around anymore, and now you feel empty.
That's good. That's real good. Wow, I'm excited for that. Are you like working on it, or you're like working on it?
I don't know the difference.
All right, like, is it like coming soon, or it's like we gonna have to wait a little bit?
It's coming soon.
Okay.
It's coming soon. It's coming soon.
Okay.
It's coming soon.
I like that sound.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that. That sounds real good. Real good.
Me too.
So, to sum all of this up, I mean, we kind of said a lot, which is good. And I have one more question though. You mentioned your testimony, and that is important because I feel as though so many people today, whether they know God or they don't know God, they need to see people that they can relate to, which is why my show is called Art Talk, or Relative Talk, because people need to see that they can relate to you. People need to see that, you know, they can identify themselves in you. What can you say for somebody who may be struggling to find their purpose, who may be struggling to, who may be battling between that borderline of purposeful art and art that may not be too good for their spirit? You know, what kind of advice can you give for that person?
3 much advice. One of them is you gotta impact over hype is a phrase that I continually tell myself. It's like an affirmation that I have to keep telling myself, because as an artist, you want to see the numbers go up, and it gets to the point where sometimes you'll do anything. Like, you'll make a song that's not really you, but it's what's popular, or you'll talk about things that, you know, you don't really do, but people want to hear. But impact over hype is the difference between having people who really will rock with you forever, period, because you changed their life, you impacted them, you gave them a reason to get up, versus the hype, which is right now, in the moment. You got them hype before they went to the club, or you got them hype before they did something stupid. Now they're, like, eventually they're going to associate you with the dumb thing that they did. So, in the long run, it makes more sense to make the music that, or the art that actually resonates with you.
That's good. Do you ever feel like it's too late for somebody?
Too late to do what?
To turn those situations around. You know, if I'm an artist and I'm doing my art. Okay, so the reason why I'm asking is because there was one point in time where I felt like it was too late for me. When I started Creative Royalty, it was a God-given vision, but I took it and I ran with it without God's guidance. So as I was doing my events, one of which you performed at.
It was lit, by the way.
It was,
It
you know
was
what I'm
lit.
saying? But anyway, as I'm doing these events and I'm putting these workshops, I'm getting these business plans going, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. God was not in it at all. I did not pray about not one thing. My first show that I had, tons of people came. It was actually oversold out. Like the venue was too packed. People couldn't sit down. That kind of a thing. So I'm thinking this is the life, you know, I'm thinking this is it. Like you said, impact over hype. I was hype, not impacting. You know what I mean?
I get it.
So as time went on, like I started feeling like it was too late because these were visions God had given me months and almost like years before, and I was finally putting them out there. But because I was doing everything in vain, because I wasn't doing anything in His name, I started feeling like it was too late for me. But I want to know if there's anything that you can say from the music aspect of whether it's too late for somebody or not. Because I know for me, once I really submitted myself in God, in His Spirit, I realized that it was not too late. He gave me this vision for Art Talk last summer. I didn't start until a few months ago.
Right.
So I had to keep reminding myself it's not too late. But if there's something that God gives you, you have to keep giving it back to Him. You know, you have to keep involving Him in the process. You have to keep praying about it. You have to keep doing it. And if He gives it to you and it's really that burning passion in your heart, you have to do it. You know what I mean? If He's trying to use you as His disciple or as His whomever, whatever the case may be, He's not going to sit around and wait for you. You feel me? I started feeling like it was going to be to a point where it was like, okay, He's just going, just up and give my vision away to somebody else. I mean, what is for me will always be for me.
Right.
But at the end of the day, He does not have to sit around and wait for you. You know what I mean? So, from the music aspect, what can you say about somebody that may be feeling like it's too late for them? You know, they wanted to create music, or they started doing it the wrong way, or they're in it the wrong way currently. And they may be feeling in their heart, they may be feeling in their spirit that I want to turn it around. I want to do something positive. I want to make it better, but I might be in it for the hype and not the impact. You know what I mean? What can you say for somebody who may feel like it's a little too late?
Right. The thing about like God and what I read in the scripture, there was one of the disciples, I'm not sure which one it was asking God, can you please take these bad things, these bad habits of mine away? I don't even want them, like lust and greed and envy. He just wanted God to rid him of these things. And God, every time he asked, God kept saying no, no, no. And eventually God said, my grace is the only thing that you need. My grace is sufficient. And I'm starting to see a pattern in the Bible of like, God never used the most polished people at all. Like, one of his disciples was like a tax collector who would steal money from the town. The other one literally persecuted Christians. Like, he always uses Moses or Noah, I always get them mixed up, had a speech impediment. Like, he always uses the broken people in order to relay his message because he wants the glory to go to him. So that's just to say there's power in your testimony. There's power, like, musically, I put out a project when I left my freshman year that was like so raunchy, but it's where I was, and it was exactly true to my life. And I debated for a long time, should I take this project down? Should I keep it up? It's going to be a bad look if people see it. And then eventually I'm like, nah, bro, like, that really happened. Like, you have to keep that up, because there may be someone who's right there in that moment who's going to resonate with it musically. So now they follow you. And if they see your growth, they're going to grow with you. So I would say it's never too late. Even if you switch and then you switch back and then you, like, that's your testimony. God ordered your steps. He knew who you were before you were born. So, like, you're good. I struggle with this a lot. So it's like I had to take the pressure off of myself to be perfect, because I'm not perfect. And if I was, it would be because of me that I'm who I am, when it's not really.
What's one last thing you can say about why purposeful art matters?
One last thing I can say about why purposeful art matters is legacy. I feel as though I had a friend ask me, we were talking, we were actually right down here, this is a nice creative space, and he was saying how, like, you know, if you just did this, or if you just made this type of music, you will be way crazier than who you are. And I told him, I don't care about the now, because when I'm not here no more, my music is going to be legendary. I already know, because it serves a purpose.
Yeah.
So if you want to leave a legacy and you want to be known for something other than being silly, you should make purposeful art. Purposeful art. Because it will serve a purpose.
Alright, so that is it for today, Royals. Thank you so much for joining in on this next video art talk. I keep battling between whether these are videos, episodes, whatever, but whatever you want to call it, that's cool. It's fine by me. As long as you're getting something from it. Remember, always give it back to God. You know what I'm saying? Until next time.